wind howled through the stony peaks of Dragonstone as Aegon Targaryen stood on the balcony, his steel-gray eyes fixed on the horizon. Valyria had fallen, and from its ashes he would carve a new legacy. Behind him, Visenya, as ever, was sharpening her blade, Dark Sister, her focus unbreakable. Rhaenys joined them, her bright laughter a stark contrast to the severe expressions of her siblings. "We will make this land ours," Aegon declared, his voice rich with authority. Visenya's nod was sharp, and Rhaenys' smile grew. "Let us begin by planting our sigil where all can see," she said, her eyes glinting with excitement. And so the three Targaryens mounted on their dragons flew towards the shores of Westeros. The sky was streaked with fire and purpose. Please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to Storytime. The locals called it the Field of Fire. Aegon stood tall atop Balerion the Black Dread, surveying the amassed armies. Harrenhal the Black and Argilac the Arrogant had united against him, but their banners would fall today. A roar from his left brought Aegon's attention to Visenya, her dragon Vagar exhaling streams of blue flame. On his right, Rhaenys' golden hair blended with the crimson of her dragon, Meraxes. Aegon raised his sword, signaling the attack. The dragons descended, and the battlefield was engulfed in fire. As the cries of men echoed through the air, Aegon knew this was just the beginning. "Victory belongs to the bold," Visenya shouted, her voice a thunderclap over the fray. Rhaenys, riding the winds with grace, nodded, and with dragons, we are the boldest of all. Did you know that you can feature your story here? Comment your story idea. Top comment gets featured. Harrenhal burned. The mighty fortress, thought invulnerable, melted under the relentless assault of dragonfire. Harren the Black stood in his halls, defiance in his eyes. "You will never conquer me," he spat as Aegon entered. "You've already lost, Harren," Aegon replied, his voice cold as the sea wind. Visenya stood by his side, her gaze unwavering. "Kneel or die," she commanded. But it was Rhaenys who stepped forward, her tone softer but no less resolute. "Think of your people, Harren. Spare them needless death." Harren's pride sealed his fate. As the roof caved in, the last screams of House Hor were drowned in the roar of Balerion's flames. In the north, Torrhen Stark stood with his advisors, a letter from Aegon in hand. "He demands we bend the knee," Torrhen said, his voice grim. "And if we refuse?" asked one of his bannermen. "Fire and blood," was Torrhen's terse reply. Winterfell echoed with the sounds of preparation. Soldiers readied their weapons, but Torrhen's mind was elsewhere. He had heard of Harrenhal's fate, of the dragon's might. Torrhen knew loyalty to his people must come before pride. Gathering his banners, the king in the north rode south. As he approached Aegon's camp, he dismounted, and before the eyes of his men he knelt. "The north bends the knee," he declared solemnly. Aegon dismounted and lifted Torrhen up. "You have chosen wisely," he said. Torrhen met his eyes, unflinching. "Let us hope that wisdom outlasts fear." King's Landing was nothing more than a barren stretch of land, but in Aegon's vision it would be the heart of a new kingdom. Rhaenys walked the grounds, already picturing the bustling city it would become. "Here," she said, pointing, "we will build the greatest castle Westeros has ever seen." Visenya, ever practical, spoke of defenses and strongholds. "The Iron Throne will be forged here, a symbol of our strength." Aegon nodded, seeing their dreams merge into tangible plans. "It shall be a testament to our rule. Let the dragons of House Targaryen light the way into a new era." Rebellions were inevitable. In the Reach, the Tyrells rose in revolt, their lands aflame with dissent. Aegon marched his troops, his dragons casting long shadows over the fertile fields. "We cannot simply rule through fear," Rhaenys said, her tone filled with concern. "We must win their hearts." Visenya's response was blunt. "Fear ensures loyalty, sister." Aegon, caught between their differing approaches, sought a balance. "We will provide them justice, but they must understand the repercussions of defiance." The battle was swift, the Tyrells subdued. As Aegon addressed the captured lords, he proclaimed, "Serve faithfully, and you shall be rewarded. Rebel, and you will face the dragon's wrath." The message was clear, and the seeds of lasting loyalty were sown, watered by both fear and hope. Aegon stood before the Iron Throne, the massive structure a chaotic tangle of swords, each one a story of conquest and submission. "It is done," he murmured, an expression of awe and exhaustion crossing his face. Visenya walked up to him, her armor still stained from battle. We forged a kingdom from blood and fire, she said, her tone both fierce and tender. Rhaenys joined them, a light in her eyes, and now we must rule it, together. The siblings' hands clasped together, never more united. Aegon declared, the 7 kingdoms are one, the dragons have come home.